G'day guys, in this video I'm going to change the oil in a 4-stroke dirt bike. Doesn't really matter what type of 4-stroke dirt bike you own, they are all very similar. In this case it's a 2015 RMZ250. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's get started. First thing you'll need to do is drain the old oil out of this engine. It's quite a simple job. Just get an old sump pan to catch the oil and take out the sump screw or bolt, which is here on this one, and drain the oil out. The previous owner told me, oh, this has just had a service, the oil in it's all new. I haven't ridden this bike yet, and this is why I changed the oil in a bike as soon as I purchase it, because there's no way this oil is clean and it's not just been freshly done. This is very well worn oil. So when you purchase a second-hand dirt bike, be sure to do a lot of maintenance and give it a really good service before you ride it, because people lie. We also need to remove this bolt here. It has another filter in there, but it's a reusable one. It's more like a screening filter. So we'll remove that and have a look at the filter. You can actually see how filthy this is. Now this is apparently, it's actually a little bit of metal shaving there. This is apparently, I just had a service. What a load of rubbish. Now I've just got a little container here with some petrol in it, and I've got that little screen filter in here, cleaning it out with some petrol. You can see here that there's actually some metal shaving here. So I'm just hoping that it's because it hasn't been cleaned in such a while. Nothing major is going wrong with the engine. And hopefully the filters have been catching these before they go up into the motor. So give this a good clean in the petrol. Now while I have that little screen filter in there, I think there's a second filter here which goes onto the pump pickup. So I'm going to take this cover off, because there is on my 450 RMX another one behind this. I'm not too sure about this bike because I've never worked on one of these before, so I'm just going to pull it off anyway and have a look to see what we do have here. Now the bolts in here could be all different lengths, so what I do is I start at the top corner and I go clockwise around and I place them on the ground in that order so that they go back in that order. That way if they are different length bolts, you will not get them mixed up. I also may have to remove this gear lever yet. Yes, the bolts are different lengths, so put them in order. Now we need to pull this off. Now this is magnified because it's got the magneto behind, so it will try and pull itself back on. Can I get past this gear lever? Yes. Okay, this here is your pickup. There is another little filter here. The good news is this filter is very clean, nothing at all. So that's telling me that those other filters have prevented any of those shavings from going back into the pump and back to the top of the motor. So I'm happy to see that that is clean, but I will give it a clean as well. And it just goes in here, 2 bolts, and that's your pickup. I now have this screen filter fully cleaned and looking really good, so it's time to put that back in. Now this pickup filter is clean and time to be put back into the bike. Now time to put this magneto cover back on. Probably is a little bit easier if you do remove the gear shifter, but I can get it on fairly well without. Because these bolts are all different size, I remember that this one goes first, second, and so on, going clockwise around the same way as I took it off. Now that there's no more oil dripping out from under the bike, it's time to put that sump plug back in. Now we're on this side of the bike. This is where another oil filter is. This one is a cartridge filter and needs to be thrown away because this is one that needs to be replaced. It's not a clean-up one. So simply remove these two bolts and take that out. There's a little spring on here, so make sure you don't lose that because it can come out. Sometimes they can be a little bit tricky to come out. A set of needle nose pliers will get it. And this filter here, although it's dirty, has no metal shavings, which is great because that means those metal shavings that I saw on that little pre-filter has done all the work. Yep, nothing. Although this oil is filthy, and this bloke said this has just been done. So when you purchase a used bike, make sure you change your stuff and do all your services no matter what the previous owner says, because they lie. Okay, a new oil filter to replace the old one. These aren't a clean-up job, they're a replacement. The rubber goes to the engine side. You don't need to put any oil on it. It's not like a car one where you need to put a little bit of oil on it, which makes it a bit easier to take back off later. So you just simply put it in, push it on, then you get your cap. You make sure you haven't lost your spring because it will push that filter on tight. And there is an up, it'll have an arrow. Now on this particular bike it will say how much oil goes in it. It says 1100 mils, so that's 1.1 litres of oil that needs to go into this bike. Now this bike is all done, the plugs are all in, the covers are all on, there's absolutely no oil in this engine. So we need to refill this oil with 1100 mils. Now I have my container, it only holds 1 litre. Remember we need 1.1 litres, so I'll fill it to the 100,000 mil line. And then I'll add another 100 to get the right amount of oil in this bike. This is my funnel. I've got a little trick where I can hold my funnel with my kickstand so that the funnel doesn't fall out as I'm trying to pour. So let's go. Look at the difference in the colour of oil. That other stuff was black, and the owner said that this bike was only just done. So that's 1 litre. Okay, that's 1 litre in. We need another 100 mils, which will be this line here. And just remember to put your oil cap back on, and your bike is finished. Okay guys, this bike's full, fresh, new, clean oil. That first screening filter had a little bit of debris in it, a couple of the metal shavings. All the rest of the filters were good and clean, so that first one was picking up whatever issues were there. The owner said this bike had been fully serviced. He lied. When you get a second-hand bike, you make sure you service it before you ride it and go over the whole bike and make sure everything is the way that it should be, because people lie and people may not maintain a bike the way that you do. So you've got to make sure your bike is safe has fresh oil, and hopefully you can enjoy the bike for many rides. So thanks for watching.